Hi, welcome to Creating with Guerrilla Art. Today we are making a Santa Claus. Ho, ho, ho. You guys are joining me today. This is a cute one, fun one. I have never done a canvas painting with Santa Claus. I've done a wood one, but not a canvas one, and it was kind of fun to do it this year. And I just love it. I hope you guys are going to enjoy making it. Let's talk about the supplies you're going to need. All right, so these are the supplies you're going to need. I've got here myself a styrofoam plate, and I've got 6 colors. Hopefully I didn't forget any. We'll know if I have to add any later, but we've got red, brown, a skin tone, black, green, and white. You're going to need a paper plate, or excuse me, paper towel, and a brush. I've got myself a round tip brush, water bowl, and obviously your canvas. Now, if you got a kit from me, then you've got it pre-drawn on, so it makes it nice and easy, and it's going to be a lot of fun making this. Let's get started. I just looked and realized that I wasn't recording, but I wanted to show you. I did get started with the skin. We're going to do that, and my brush strokes were very long and very purposeful. And I just painted right over the pencil lines, and I'm not too worried about it. Now we've got the cheeks. So I'm going to come in and put the cheeks in. And you may leave just the tiniest bit of canvas right there that hasn't been painted. And that's only in case you can't see that pencil line. I want you to know where those cheeks are. I don't want you to lose them. He's got these super cute cheeks. All right. Pretty cute. Okay, so I'm going to wash my brush. I like to tap it in the bottom of my bowl at least 10 times, and then I dry it really good. That's important. And we're going to come in here, and we're going to paint his beard. This mustache, and I don't want you, I mean, what do I want to say? You can't really see what you're doing, so I want you to be careful. You're painting white onto white, but we definitely want to have that white on there. My brush strokes again are very long and purposeful. I also like to paint in the direction it grows. So your beards are going to grow down. So I'm never painting up. I'm only painting down as if, you're painting the way it grows. Well, we just want to get the bulk of this is our first coat. In all my paintings, you see that there's lots of coats of paint. So brushing down, and if you go up a little bit, that's fine, but for the most part, I like to brush down. And his beard, actually, if you did an imaginary beard underneath this thing, it would be about under there. So I'm just going to paint that white. So I know it's hard to see the white. But this is the first coat. We're going to do several more layers. And I might as well, since I have white, I'm going to paint the little ball here white. All right, what else is white? It's pretty good. Oh, I know what's white right up in here. So, while you have white on your brush, now's the time to just paint everything white. Like I said, we're going to do a couple different coats. Layer, layer, layer. So I love doing Santa. Last year we painted a Santa I painted a Santa and we did a class on it on a piece of wood. And that one was so cute. But this year, one of my friends requested it, and you know who you are if you're watching it. She wanted a Santa with Santa's list. So I think that's pretty cute. All right, so we got that painted. Like I said, we're gonna do layer, layer, layer. I'm gonna wash my brush, tap, tap, tap. And I think I'm gonna continue working on this before we get to the red, because the red's such a deep color and it darkens up your water bowl. So I like to work from the lightest to the darkest sometimes. So I think we're gonna do this paper here. Let's see. I'm gonna dip a little brown. You know, I think I'm going to add in your collection a little yellow. Let's see. Sorry, my yellow's a little yucky. When I give you paint, I think we'll add a little yellow because I feel like our paper needs to be a little yellowed. Just a little bit. Add a little brown in there until I feel happy about that color. You know, like aged paper would be. That's too dark. Too dark. You have to be careful with this. It can't be too dark, because then he's gonna look like the deer. So I'm playing with it and I'll let you know. I think this is still too dark. I'm gonna put another coat, but you know, it's good to layer. So what I did is I mixed a little yellow and a little bit of white and a smidge of brown. But I can tell you it's going to be too dark. But you know, it's great that it's a little dark right now, because we will make it a little lighter in a second. Layer, layer, layer. I like that. All right, so now I'm gonna wash my brush and we are going to paint our deer. Now the deer is, I'm gonna take a little bit of the skin tone and mix a little brown in it. I just made it a little darker than the skin tone. I just don't want it to match Santa's face. We have to have some contrast. And you know, I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow to it, because if you think about it, if you look at a deer, they have a lot of golden in the fur. It's very golden. So that's where the yellow comes in. I put a little yellow right on top of that. It's cute. Okay. And then I'm going to paint down here too, while I have that color readily available. A little yellow, a little skin color, and a little brown. And we'll be layering this too, don't you worry. I'm definitely painting underneath. And I'm just gonna add a little, it's gonna be a little darker, right there. Just doing all little base coats. Definitely going to be making it darker and putting all those layers in there. Got to make it look like it has fur. Make sure you get the sides over here. See what I'm doing? Got the bottom. And that's going to be a little lighter right there. That's part of his mouth. Cute. All right, I'm gonna come up here paint those ears. And then this part here, actually I'm going to paint, see that little skinny spot right there? Right there. This part I'm going to add a little darker. Just going straight dark. I didn't clean my brush, but I didn't add any color, lighter color to it, just straight dark. Here we go. Like I said, we're just putting those base coat in there. Maybe a little right there. Now I'm coming in and just darkening that up a little bit. Sometimes you wipe your brush on your paper towel and then you come in with a drier brush and you blend those things in together. That's how you blend it. Now it looks, see, that's just your first coat there. I washed my brush really good. And let's see, I think I'm going to come in, I want to put some details now in the white. And I've got my brush clean. So the way we put some details is, I'm just going to come back in with a nice second coat here. And I'm not covering the whole thing. Hard to see what I'm doing, but just painting little bits of this white. And I'm going to do his beard. His mustache, I should say. And then I'm going to come in and we're going to add some shading. You know, your beard, believe it or not, is it doesn't look exactly white, you know, so we got to put a little bit of color in there. Excuse me. So I'm going to just start a very light gray, and when I say light gray, I mean light gray. And how do we do that? I'm going to pick up a little bit of white. I'm going to move it over here. I scooped it up, and I'm going to take, and I mean a small amount of black. That's it. Not much, because that black will really make it dark. Add a little more white to it. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to paint around his beard just like this, his mustache. I keep calling it a beard. And some other little pressing right there. It's important when you're painting not to press very hard. A lot of people make that mistake, but I'm just using the tippy top of my brush. And you want to do that because otherwise you're going to have these really fat brush strokes. So look at that. Isn't that cute? Just kind of lightly pressing, very gentle. Just putting a little bit of texture in there. Oops, it got too much there. I don't see that got too much. And that's okay. I'm just going to grab a little white. And actually, really, it would be a little, just a smidge darker. A little shadow, maybe. So I'll clean my brush because I think too much gray is on there now. Dip it in back into the white. See, I'm covering that up. Oh, I'm really pleased with that. That looks so cute. And I am going to just continue on down there. You don't really have to, but whatever. Whatevers. All right, look at how cute. Very cute. Okay, so I've cleaned my brush. I'm going to add a little bit of white. to my brush and I'm gonna just repaint. Come in here. And I'm just gonna first fill this in. And then we're gonna do something fun. All right, so I'm gonna wipe my brush a little bit, so I don't want a lot of paint, and I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna very gently back and forth. See what I did there? Making it look like it's a little furry. Isn't it cute? Can you see? So I did that with a very dry brush. In fact, I'm kind of just pulling out the paint that I did, that I just painted on there. And I want to do his eyebrows now, so I'm going to use the white, and I don't want a lot of paint. You really don't. Okay, so I dipped it in, and then I'm wiping it a little bit, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm not pressing hard. Very gently doing these little wisps. And I'm going, how do eyebrows grow? They're growing kind of up and out. You don't want a lot of paint. And I imagine that Santa has these big bushy eyebrows, so I'm just doing it. I'm just gonna dab it and then press and kind of, see, it's like little wispy brush strokes, and I don't have a lot of paint. And I would think that he has these wild, crazy ones. I don't know if you know this, but I do hair as well. I'm a hairdresser. And I'll tell you what, you get a little older, especially the men, and you get wild, crazy eyebrows. It happens. So I like that. And as a hairdresser, a lot of times I have to cut their eyebrows. It's true. All right, here we go. What do you think? And I'm going to put a little bit of white on his nose. It's going to get a little pink nose, but I'm just adding a little bit of white where I think maybe the highlights would be. And you might not even be able to see what I'm doing because it is so gentle and I don't have much paint. It's a very dry brush. This is what you call dry brush, when there's not a lot of paint. Show you what I did there. Nice close up. It's looking cute, huh? Now I feel like that got a really gray, so I'm gonna just come in and I'm gonna add some more white right on top of it. So if you did that in any spot where you're like, oh my gosh, that's too much gray, because you know Santa Claus is known for his white beard, not a gray beard. So you don't want the whole beard to turn gray. So if you feel like maybe you put too many gray things in there, just go back over after it's dried a little bit. Looking cute, people. And I might just put a little bit of gray in his eyebrows too. Just a smidge. Yeah, I like that. And I'm not pressing hard. I cannot stress that enough. To not press hard. And like that got a little too gray. Can you see? There. So I just want to make that a little whiter. And what do? I just go back over with some white. Sometimes it's good to just go over it and over it. And sometimes you have to know when not to go over it. It's a healthy little balance that you play. Cute. I'm really liking this, I should say. Okay, so now I'm gonna wash my brush. We're gonna do another little coat over here. So I've got to mix up some more. Definitely like that yellow, a little brown. In fact, you know, I'm going to try it without any skin color in there. Yes, I'm happier with that. So what I did is I just mixed yellow and brown. I didn't put any of that skin color in there. And I'm going to come very gently, and I'm going to do like little brush strokes going down. And this is giving some texture, some fur. So for my second coat, that's what I did for the neck part anyways. Do the side here as well. I really like that. And then I'm going to make this a smidge lighter, so I'll add a little bit of skin tone to that one. Cute. And then I'm going to come and I'm going to wipe my brush. I'm not cleaning it with water, but I'm wiping it down, and I've got just dark, and I'm going to do kind of the brush stroke situation again, just, and it's all going up, very gentle. It's important to take your time, not speed racer through this. Art's about a process. It's just about having fun and enjoying yourself. Cute. I'm liking it. How's yours coming out? I miss doing this live so I could see people and seeing, you know, how their paintings come out. I think what I've seen the most is people are slow, but that's a good thing. It's so you might not be as fast as me, but I'm, you know, this is what I do all the time. So if you have to pause this video, go right ahead. I'm going to come in with the dark, and I'm just going to do a few little dark ones on top now. See what I'm doing here? I'm adding texture. There we go. I like it. Cute. Now, I think I'll take some of that skin tone and just paint that in there. I'm going to make it probably a little pinker, but for now, we'll get that little skin tone in there. Cute. All right. Now's a good time to pause me and get caught up. And I'm going to wash my brush, and then I'm going to come back for the next step. See you in a second. Okay, so I washed my brush, and I got the bristles dry. So I'm going to come in. I have a little bit of yellow. Here we go. On my brush. Yellow and white, sorry. Yellow and white. It's really a fine little balance. You don't want it to be too yellow, right? But you do want it to be yellowed paper. You don't want bright white paper. So let me show you real close up. That's the color that I've been doing. It's a lot more white in it. And it can be streaky on your, you don't have to cover every square inch. If it looks streaky, what happens is you starts to look like paper. So that's a good thing. I'm just gonna make it a smidge darker. I'm gonna add the tiniest amount of brown right where it would curl. Because, you know, down there is where you get the shadow. I'm just blending it in. You want to play around with shadow. Down there is where the shadow is. And you see how I got that in there a little bit? I painted it a little brown like this, and then I wiped my brush, and then I just came in and I'm kind of what I call feathering. See how I'm just doing that motion? And now I'm going to do kind of the opposite. Up here, I'm going to paint in white, and I'm going to feather it. And it has like the tiniest I'm doing the tiniest amount of a curve with my feathering. Do you see that? It has a little curve going that way. And it shouldn't be too noticeable, but what it's doing is it's just creating that illusion that the paper is curved. Underneath his nose is going to be a little darker. So I'm going to do the same thing with a little bit of brown, like that. Wipe my brush, and I'm going to continue the curve, but now it's just a little darker. That's where his shadow would be, of his nose. I'm going to make this a little darker in here, and I'll do a little bit in here too. We'll get that looking a little more like paper in a little bit. In fact, I'm going to just use my finger to kind of make a little circular motion. Yeah, I like that. It's very streaky, and I like that. You know, old paper like maybe Santa Claus would have is very streaky. So I'm liking this a lot. I'm looking here in the mirror and I can see that little line there? I think I should have made his head just a little higher up. That'll make me happier to do that. Sometimes you got to look at things in a different way to see it. Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah, that looks cute. It's got a little darker. It's all looking pretty good. Washing my brush. Now I think I'm going to get to some other parts here. We're going to paint that red. So I'm going to dip in. Now watch what I do. I'm going to start and I'm going to press and drag it along the line all the way down. And when it starts to see like it's not covering it, then you got to stop and maybe, you know, readjust your brush or add some more paint. And I'm going to just do that same thing. Very long brush strokes. As close as you can to that line. Press it. And then drag it up. Drag it up. There we go. Press and drag, press and drag. Everybody's taken my classes heard me say that like 1,000 times. Press and drag, press and drag. All right, here we go. Look at how cute. Santa's red hat. Get a little taller, I think. I don't know why. So, years ago, my husband and I bought our first house. I'm going to take it back a notch. This is a funny story. I might have told it before. When I was a little girl, we have to drive up this one street, you know, long drive up the road. We lived on the hill, and we'd always pass this one guy's house who was known as Santa Claus. He, you know, of course he wasn't the real Santa Claus, but he was Santa Claus who year round would go and be Santa Claus. He'd go into the schools and he would dress up as Santa Claus. Most importantly, he would go into the hospital and dress up as Santa Claus. He worked for Santa Claus, I suppose. And he had a lot of fun bringing joy to people's lives by pretending to be Santa Claus. And he lived that lifestyle as Santa Claus. Like, he went home, he had a real beard, he wore red, he drove a red car. His whole house, he had like these white rocks for the roof of his house, and it looked like snow. I'm telling you, he really lived like Santa Claus. And if you ever call this house, you know, years ago, you may not know this, but they had these little message machines, leave a message, and he would say how many days it was to Christmas. I mean, it was hysterical. So anyways, I would drive up the street and I would see his house, and I don't know, at one point his neighbors got mad at him or something silly because too many people were looking at his house, and driving by it at Christmas time and admiring it, and because it looked just like a Santa Claus house. And so his neighbors, they got mad at him, and I remember driving up as a little kid going, what are these people getting mad at this Santa Claus for? It's terrible. And I would say to my mom, if he was my neighbor, you know what? I wouldn't be mad at him. I think it'd be wonderful. So pause that story there. We're gonna make a little pink. It has to be very light pink. So how do we make pink? A little red and a little white. And I know this is not traditional, but I like to just put my finger right in it. And I'm just gonna come in and dab it right there. And then I like to swirl. Oop, too much red. I'll add a little more white. But Santa Claus is known for his cheeks. Isn't that fun? So cute. Pink cheeks. I love it. A little more white maybe, I don't know. I like to just dab it. And then I've got it, his nose has got to be a little pink too. But I don't want it like a full circle, so I'm just gonna, if you get a little too much red on it, just add a little white. Wipe my finger. See, that's almost too, it's too red. But that's okay, because I'm going to come back in with a little skin color. And I'm just going to wipe it around his nose. Cute. Ah, that's good. And I'll put a little white right there, like where maybe he'd have a little bit of glistening off his nose. But you don't want too much that it looks like snow. So just have a little bit to show you. Cute. And I'm just going to add a little skin tone to there because that got a little pink as well. We got more details to do, so I wouldn't worry about it too hard. But since I do have my little pink, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a little pink to my deer. He's got to be a little pink. See? Cute. And guess what? The inside of his ear is going to be a little pink. That's cute. Okay, I like that a lot. Very cute. All right, so let's get caught up. Good time to get caught up, and then we'll get started with the next step. So welcome back. I'm going to paint in my green holly berries. So cute. So I just dipped it a little bit in the green. And I'm not pressing hard. That's the key. Don't press too hard. So I gotta finish my Santa story. I'm gonna turn this. It makes it a little easier to paint it. Actually, I'm gonna switch over to my detail brush. I think you guys are all gonna get a little detail brush too. So I can find mine. 5 billion brushes. There it is. There's my detail brush. You're gonna need that. Dip it in the green. So that's my, I lived by this Santa Claus man, and I always said, oh, if I lived by him, if he was my direct neighbor, because he wasn't my, I just passed by his house. He wasn't my direct neighbor. So anyways, fast forward, my husband and I, our first house, you know, this is like 15 years later. And who do you suppose our neighbor was? It was in a different area. Santa had moved, and he was in a complete different neighborhood, and I got to live next to Santa. It was so amazing. They did a movie about him. There was a movie about this guy, and his wife looked just like Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus, I should say. She was so cute. Her name was Stella. And Santa, when I first showed up at my house and I got a knock at my door, and I'll tell you, it was the funniest thing. Who was at my door was Santa. And he was in his overalls. He had red overalls, hysterical. He had his cell phone in his pocket and he was holding a glass and he said, "Got milk." They need to do a commercial because it was so cute, a milk commercial, because there was Santa waiting. He needed milk. He was actually coming just to check out the neighbors, I think we decided later. He was so funny. He wanted to see who we were. And we loved him. He was just the nicest man. I cannot imagine why anybody, his neighbors, would get mad at him. So isn't that funny? As a little girl, I thought, you know, oh, if I ever lived by Santa, and then I grew up as an adult and I lived by the same man. And he was so nice. And his house was all decorated like Santa Claus again. And he was just fun. And he literally put rollers in his hair every night. So he had these ringlets. If I can find a picture, I'm going to add a picture of him. We had a picture where we were playing games one year, and I'm going to add it, and I'll add it in right here if I can find it. Isn't that cute? All right, so I've washed my brush, and I'm going to paint in the little cranberries, but I want it to be a little different than his hat. So what I'm going to do is I think, might change my mind, but I added a little black, and I promise you it has to be the tiniest amount of black, because if it has too much, it'll just look black. So I just did a little bit there. Yeah, that is a great cranberry color. So you know what I'm gonna do? Use my finger because it's supposed to be round. Yep, there it is. When I do that, I just press it and then I do a little circular motion. Gentle. I like it. There you go. And the other cool thing about that Santa Claus, and we called him Santa, he would go to the White House with the President of the United States, and he was in several years he would go as the presidential Santa Claus. And he would go to the White House and play Santa Claus. He was amazing. All right, so we've got our little holly berries in and our green right there. Now we're gonna paint the background, and we're gonna do it black, believe it or not. We're gonna do it black. And then we'll put a bunch of stars, and I think it'll look amazing. So when we get close to his hat, what do we got to do? We got to press and we got to drag. Press and drag. All right, fill that in. Look how cute. And now I'm going to press and drag around my deer. Get real close in there. Here we go. Just take your time. That is so pretty. That's really cool. All right, I love it. I'm really happy, so I'm going to put my brush in the water. Tap, tap, tap. We're gonna clean it really good. Now is a really good time to pause me and blow dry your canvas. I would blow dry that back because we're gonna come in and put some stars and stuff in there, and we wanna have everything else really dry. We're in our final stage. I think it's looking so cute. So go ahead and pause me, blow dry it, and come on back. Okay, washed my brush, and I'm gonna take a little bit of that red. I almost forgot to do this, but we're gonna paint Rudolph's red nose. Cute. Just gentle. There. Haha, cute. All right, so I'm cleaning my brush really good, and I want to make sure it's clean because I'm noticing I want to add a little more white, little fuzz kind of coming out. See how I'm doing that? Just spreading out a little bit. Because I want it to look like a fuzzy little ball. Let me get it close up so you can see it. Cute. Few little ones there because that's fuzzy too. All right, that's so cute. I think I am gonna add just a little more green just because I felt like it was a little see-through. You decide if yours needs a little more green. I thought needed a little bit more. Cute. All right, we're in the final stretch, people. We're gonna switch over to our detail brush, and I'm gonna start putting in some details. We've got to put in his eyes, maybe a little rim of his nose, definitely the eyes here. So I'm gonna start with the rim of his nose. I think I don't want it to be black, but I do want it to be a little shaded. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a skin tone color here, and I'm just mixing in a little brown, just a little bit. I'm going to turn it. I'm just going to add a little bit there. I'm going to just trace his nose a little bit. See how I added that a little bit? It's almost too dark, so I'm going to add back in. There we go. A little bit of that skin tone. And I'm going to put a little white right on the top. Wipe that in. All right. Oops, it's getting a little messy. Let's get that back in there. Sometimes you got to play around with it. That's looking good. And I'm going to do the same for his cheeks. I've not added any color. Actually, I've got to add a little bit. I'm just going to, just a little bit. I'm very gently pressing too. I'm not doing like these big long lines. And it's a very similar color. See how close it is? See that? Might have to add a little more pink to him, but that's okay. I'm liking that. I'm gonna clean my brush. And I'm going to, I wiped it and pinched it because I really want to get it nice and crisp and dry. And I'm gonna do these long little eyes in there. I like to drag it towards me. A little thicker. That looks good. Oh my gosh, so cute. And now I'm going to do my little little reindeer's eyelashes, and it's gonna have some long little eyelashes. Cute. I'm gonna do just a couple right there. Now, I'm not gonna add any more paint. I am gonna just do a very, very dry brush right there and underneath too. I didn't add any paint, okay? Just a little dry brush. And I want to start to kind of outline some things. I'm going to outline his nose a little bit. And I definitely want to outline the paper. Now, if you're nervous to do this with the skinny brush, you can use Sharpie. I was practicing right there, and I did do Sharpie there. And you could do that. Let's just see. With Sharpie, but the key to doing it with Sharpie is that this cannot be wet at all. Okay, you cannot put Sharpie on wet canvas. And then while you're here, you can write, you know, Santa's list that he's checking twice. You can also use this for the eyes too. You can do it with the eyes. I wouldn't obviously do it here. You need that to be black. I mean, not very wet. I'm outlining these the little berries. They're so cute. I like that. So then what you can do is you could write in your list. If you got names you want to write, you can put that in. Isn't that cute? It's really looking sweet. I love it so far. Got a little too much black there, I think. There we go. Got a little white, a little too much. And always come back and add a little bit of color to it and make it cute. You know, I feel like this has got to be a little, if I did it down here, right? I should have had a little furs up there. See what I'm doing? It's sort of a fur. Go in different directions. Just a tiny bit. And I'm going to get my brush. Actually, I'm going to use this darker red that I have left over from doing the berries. I'm going to come in like that. Because he's going to have, you know, it'll have a few little wrinkles here and there. And I'm just doing the little wrinkles like that. Haha! Love it. So cute. Okay, so what is missing? Very important thing is missing. We're going to do the stars. Add a little white, and we're pretty much done with our cute little painting. I'm going to show you how I do my stars. I'm going to do some really big ones. Use my detail brush. If you've taken my class, you've seen me do it before. Do a plus sign. I'm not pressing hard. You should practice. If you press too hard, you'll get a fat star. We want little skinny stars. So it's a plus sign and then a crisscross. And I'm doing different sizes. I'll do a little baby one here. Isn't it cute? Do one right there. Haha. Now I'm going to take the bottom of my brush and I'm just dab, 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 dab. Little polka dots all, oh my gosh, you guys, I love this. So cute. What do you think? I love it. I think it came out so cute. Got a little paint on that. I'll come back over. But there you have it. There is our Santa and Rudolph. Oh, I just love it so much. I hope you guys like yours. And I really wish you a very Merry Christmas this year. I hope that you have a peaceful, a healthy one, and a safe one. And I look forward to teaching you on the next Creating with Grill Art. Bye!